I'm Richie Lewis reporting for Cadred.org, and with me is Team Liquid's big new foreign signing sensation, Snute. I'm totally psyched to have him with me. It's the first time I've got to interview you since the move to Team Liquid. So, let's start there. How's life changed for you since you joined the organisation?
It hasn't really changed all that much for me personally. You know, I'm still at home, I'm still traveling and participating in tournaments, practicing. So on that front, my life is, pretty much unchanged. But I did get into a new team, and of course there are a couple of things to get used to. You get new teammates, and I really like the change. It's been really nice. The activity is really high compared to my previous team, where we had lots of inactive players. And I really like the atmosphere, and the team has been taking great care of me. So yeah, I'm really happy about the changes. Yeah. But in the end, it's just me sitting at home, practicing and traveling.
Do you not feel you get more attention now? Because obviously Team Liquid is the big, community, and we've talked about it before. When a Team Liquid player is loved, the fan base is just. I imagine it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes. Like, not in a bad way, just like wow, like all of these people totally behind me.
Yeah, it's both good and bad, because there are a lot of expectations that come with being on a top team such as Liquid. But I also gained a lot of new fans, and I get a lot more attention now than I used to. And it's both good and bad. Sometimes it's a bit much, but it's also nice to have that many people supporting me, and I'm really appreciative of those that support me.
What about as well just support levels? When we last talked, I mean, I know I'm going back a while, a home story cup, but you were talking about the Norwegian scene and how it was difficult because there wasn't a lot of like kind of esports, stars there, and there wasn't a lot of support or attention. There wasn't that infrastructure, sponsors. But now, you're in Team Liquid. You can go anywhere you want, do anything you want, play anywhere. I mean, it must be quite nice to be in that position.
I get to travel a lot more than I would before. I have a lot more opportunities in that regard. And the Norwegian scene is also a bit supportive. I just wanted to point it out. It's not completely a desert. There's some people that really want to support esports, and you have the LAN competitions as well, the Norwegian LANs that are doing really great. So huge shout outs to them. But yeah, I get a lot more opportunities now to travel around, and that's awesome. I get more chances to prove my worth.
I just want to ask you as well, we did some Cadred Awards, and one of the moments, esports moments of the year, was you winning Home Story Cup, that outpouring of emotion. I know you're grinning about it. Like, I thought it was great. I thought it was one of the best things like that happened in esports like that year, totally, because I knew how hard you worked for it. I remember talking to you about all your training, all your hours, and to win a big one, it must have felt great. How do you feel about that now, like kind of looking back? I mean, can you talk a little bit about why you reacted so positively?
No, it's like I said in another interview, it was just so overwhelming because of all the practice and all the experience that I had accumulated over the year. It just all came together towards the end, and I worked really hard for it. So yeah, I was just really happy to finally win. It's a very typical thing, you work really hard for something, and then you finally achieve something like that. And I had so many third places, so many second places, so many almost moments where I lost. So yeah, it was a huge relief for me to win. And now that I look back on it, I'm just really proud of my achievements back then. But I'm also a little bit concerned because I haven't been able to achieve the same. I didn't really expect, to win more championships just like that, just because I happened to win one premier tournament. But yeah, my level hasn't been exactly the same, especially now. I haven't got used to Heart of the Swarm as fast, but I still have the victory from Home Story Cup. I still have a little bit of fighting spirit from that. So when I look back at it, I just get more inspired.
Well, let's talk about, first of all, I think, we'll get talking about this tournament stuff out of the way. I know it didn't really happen for you here, and you talked about how Heart of the Swarm, you haven't really got used to it, and it's been a bit of a difficult thing. What went wrong? I mean, do you have a clear understanding of why you didn't perform at the level we all expect you to?
Let's see, I need to think from the very beginning. Yeah, I started off with the two Protoss players.
Yeah.
Started off with Mana, I believe. And Mana is a player that I've never lost to in a tournament setting before, I believe. I also did quite well against him on ladder, at least for the most part. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a disappointment when I opened up so well in the first game, and then, it just turned around because I tried things that I was not used to. So I think I overextended a bit in directions where I didn't have enough practice, and I tried some things that weren't really legitimate strategies. So yeah, it was just a bad choice of openings and strats, and just, yeah, my play wasn't really up to par. And the reason for that, I guess, I don't know, when you talk about things like this and when you think about your performance, there are always so many different things that, that play in. And I think, yeah, I guess my physical condition yesterday, when I think about it, as the day progressed, as I was playing sake, I felt like not really bad, but slightly a light fever, you can say.
Yeah.
And actually after the first game, for some reason, I felt this pressure around here. You're wearing those things, and for some reason I just felt a really pressure here, and my nose started bleeding like before the second game.
Wow.
So my condition was really not optimal, and Sake wrote to me in game. He was like, "Hey man, are you okay?" And I was like, "No, not really, but do I have a choice?" And then we just kept on playing. So yeah.
Was being on stage, you were on stage all day. I mean, like, every time I walked past the stage, like, get some water or whatever, you were there, like, just with a big camera in your face. I mean, did that impact on your performance? I mean, did it suck to have so many stage games?
A little bit. It's like when I'm physically not in the best shape, or just if I'm feeling a bit down for some reason, then being on stage is extra difficult for me. Yeah, I don't know. I might be a bit more influenced by it than other players, but yeah, to me it's a bit difficult sometimes with all the attention. I know that it's going wrong, and I know what people are thinking and when they watch the games, and I really want to show good games, and having that many broadcasted matches, I don't know. It's not those things I should be thinking about, but I just can't help it sometimes, and that's, I need to fix that for the next tournament.
What about Heart of the Swarm in general as a game, the mechanics of it? I mean, obviously for every player it's going to be a learning curve. Some people seem to have taken to it really well, others not as much. How are you finding it, and do you have any plans to integrate new strategies and things like that into your game?
Yeah, I think right now I just need to look closely at my game and figure out the moments where I lose. Because in this tournament I lost pretty much in the early game. And when you lose in the early game, it's quite obvious that the openings you are using probably don't hold up to standards. So I think I need to get a more well-rounded approach and look at the game and look at my most fundamental and biggest mistakes. And as for the game itself, I feel that it's not too different from Wings of Liberty. We can see Stefano is still kicking ass right now.
Yeah.
He has strong fundamentals. He knows how to prioritize his attention when he's playing. And I think, that's going to be pretty much what 90% of the game is about, regardless of new units and new strategies. I don't think it's going to change much. I've been playing around with it for a bit of time, and I know that you definitely need a bit of experience before you can use the new units to their full potential. But yeah, I don't think it's going to change much. It's still about how you use your brain and how you think in game, and that's definitely the thing I need to work on the most, because I still do a lot of my priorities, and the way I execute the game is not really optimal.
I want to ask you a little bit about making it. The idea of being a small player, not as well known, moving into a big organisation. We've seen players in the past who have done it, and then maybe their motivation goes. Like, that was the end goal for them. They've got there and they don't play. I mean, some people have accused Hook, in EG of that. Not something I subscribe to. But, it's been levelled at certain players that when they get big time, they don't perform as well because they don't work as hard. Now, I'm not saying that about you, but do you think that people might think that? I mean, could people start to say that if you don't perform? And if so, is that, again, an extra pressure?
Yeah, I mean, when pro players join big teams, I'm pretty sure that the expectations they have from themselves are way bigger than any expectation they can have from the community. And I think that if anything, the community only helps to put even more pressure on the players. And if there's any reason why they start to underperform, it's because something happens to their self-confidence and things like that. And when you have all of the added pressure, then it really sucks to interact with the community, because if you lose, then you get so much. When you're on big teams, you get more known, and then you receive so much attention. It's so amplified, and you still want to keep it close to the ground. You still want to stay in touch with people and be able to go in a forum without having this anxiety or whatever. And that's just a reason why pros don't really post on forums and stuff. I don't know. You just need to keep some sort of distance if you want to perform well, I think. So,
is that natural to you? I mean, can you maintaining that distance? Because I find it hard. It's not as hard for a journalist, I would say, but we get flamed no matter what we do. But I'll still interact with the community. I don't really give a shit. And I'm an older guy. I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But I mean, you seem quite methodical, analytical, thoughtful. So maintaining that distance, is it difficult, or do you wish you could hang out with the community more and talk to the community more?
Well, I do stream and I interact with my stream chat, and that's working relatively okay. I don't know. It's just all the criticism. It can easily get you, and while you might be a ladder star at home and do really well, some people might just break under the pressure when they finally get on a big stage and when they have expectations to live up to. And I think it's definitely present there for me a bit as well. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm stronger than I am, because I'm really not. It's something that I need to use some time to get used to. So right now I'm definitely in a small slump when it comes to Heart of the Swarm performances. The last 2 months have been going quite well in Wings of Liberty. Didn't really do well in Katowice, but apart from that, especially online, I've been doing quite well. So, it's quite clearly either some sort of stamina-related issue or something mental about the expectations and stuff. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, I just have to work on it and become a stronger person.
Last two questions. First thing, Heart of the Swarm. Do you think it's going to help boost numbers in StarCraft 2? Because there's this air of doom and gloom now, StarCraft's dead, the bubbles burst, we're all going to have to go and get day jobs and all of this. Is Heart of the Swarm going to help get the streaming numbers back up and the viewing numbers back up?
I think the statistics already showed that the stream view numbers already went up a bit. So I think we'll see a bit of a peak when Heart of the Swarm comes out. Then it will probably dip a bit, but we'll probably be in the summer season by then. And then you got DreamHack and plenty of good events. I mean, all of these people doing things for esports. DreamHack keeps the season running, Intellect Stream Masters keeping it up. And in Korea, you have the Pro League, you have the GSL. I don't think it's going anywhere. I mean, at the end of the day, you will still have these events going on. And as long as you have those events, you will have the players playing in them and the spectators being interested in watching. So I don't think it's a problem, even if
it's not all doom and gloom.
No, I mean, if the stream viewers on the internet go down a bit, then so what? I mean, for people who are passionate about StarCraft, they can still, there's always something to watch. Look at Brood War. I mean, I'm pretty sure that those that followed Brood War for a long time were still enjoying it, and Brood War didn't have the same type of, I don't know, I shouldn't be talking about these things. I didn't play Brood War that way.
Yeah, I don't want to take you down into the Brood War zone, because I know you've got some guys who might say some shit.
No, I mean, they probably know better, so I'll just leave it there.
Oh, well, that's very humble of you. Right, so last question. You're out in the tournament now, you can chill out, relax, for a few days at least. Who do you think's going to win now that you can kind of just sit back and watch it unfold?
I didn't even think about that, because all of the remaining players are so strong. I'm just going to go with my default response, which is, it might go to a Korean. It's likely that it's going to go to a Korean. Stefano's looking quite strong, but, on the other hand, he hasn't practiced that much Heart of the Swarm. So, yeah, anything can happen, but, yeah, most likely it's going to be a Korean.
I love it, man. Diplomatic.
I'm hoping for a foreigner, really.
Okay, well, do you want to do a little shout-out for your sponsors? Do you want to do that? Are you okay?
Of course, yeah. Shout-outs to Razer, Twitch, Barracuda, and of course Shiny Things, or the little app factory.
There we go. Any others? Do you need to check? I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's okay.
Good. He was worried about that before the interview. He wanted to get them all in, so just had to make sure. But that was Snute from Team Liquid, absolute legend. Do support him. Don't be hard on him. He's going to come back stronger than ever. I know that, and I never say things like that. So he's a boss. To all the people out at cadred.org, do stay tuned to the website. We're going to have more interviews like this one from here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships in Hanover.